Welcome to the Empowered with Erika podcast. My name is Erika Vishkalis, and I'm an empowerment coach, mindset mentor, personal development enthusiast, and holistic health advocate. I have spent the last several years healing my mind, body, and soul, and have learned so much along the way. From healing trauma to navigating a sober lifestyle and learning how to step into my personal power, it has been transformational. If you are looking to heal, to be inspired, to uplevel your life, and become the most empowered version of yourself, you've come to the right place. I created this podcast to help you know you are worthy of rewriting your story and to help you navigate your own empowerment journey. You are worthy of living your most authentic, aligned, and inspired life, and I can help you get there. Whether you are diving deep into personal development or just need a weekly pick-me-up, I've got you covered. Thank you so much for pressing play today. I cannot wait to transform together. Let's get empowered.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Empowered with Erika. I'm your host, Erika, and I'm so excited to dive into today's episode. I do have to just give a quick apology because at the time of this recording, I have a bit of a head cold and the sniffles, but I didn't want to make excuses and I still wanted to record. So please bear with me and hopefully you won't be hearing too much sniffling during this recording. So what are we going to talk about today? Today, I really wanted to talk about how everyone has a past and it's up to you to create your future. So what do I mean by that? I think a lot of times we as individuals can let our past or the stories that we tell ourselves in our head kind of define our future and have a lot of power in our everyday life and our everyday decisions. So I just want to first say, guys, your past, it does not need to define you. Everyone has a past. Everyone has things that maybe they're not proud of or things that they are super duper proud of, and that's awesome. But every day is a new day to create your own story and to rewrite your story. And I have a lot of examples of this in my life. So, a very easy one to share is, I could have told myself that, well, you are the daughter of an alcoholic. You could be another statistic. You have all these abandonment issues, this childhood trauma, and I could use all these things for an excuse or as an excuse in my life. But I knew that I did not want to be a statistic. I knew that I wanted to, instead of, wallow in self-pity and be a victim of my past circumstances, to really rewrite my future and rewrite my story and know that just because something happened in my past doesn't mean that I need to bring it with me in the future, right? And this is something I'm not perfect at. I'm not perfect at this, guys. I think it's really common for us to maybe focus on things that we've done wrong or experiences that we have had in the past that we bring with us into our current circumstances. And I'm speaking this for myself, guys. Like, I struggle with this sometimes. If I'm being really vulnerable, I really do struggle with this at times, especially when it comes to, having PTSD. I can get triggered by things and, that happens sometimes. That's life, but it's not giving those circumstances the power to affect my future, right? So here's an example for myself. As I have shared a little bit in this podcast so far, I am sober. I am just over 2 years sober from drinking, and it was a great life decision for me. But one of the reasons that I decided to go sober was because I did not like who I was when I was drinking, right? I made a lot of dumb decisions. I wasn't always the nicest. I was kind of a hot mess, if I'm being really honest, and I really didn't remember, how much of a mess I really was. I did things I'm not proud of, and it just wasn't who I wanted to be. I wasn't the best version of myself, which is why I decided to stop drinking, right? Well, through my sobriety journey, I've healed a ton. I've healed a ton of wounds, so many things, and I've really changed a lot as a person, right? I feel like I've actually stepped into who I truly am. But it could be really easy for me to use these past circumstances and these past mistakes I've made as a way to beat myself up, a way to create a story in my head of I'm not worthy of this, or I'm not worthy of that, or I can't do this, or I can't do that because of, the fact that I used to drink. Or here's a really simple one that maybe doesn't seem very relevant, but oh, well, I can't have fun at a concert unless I'm drinking. That's not fucking true, right? But that's a story that I've told myself before when I was first getting sober. I was like, how am I supposed to have fun out with my friends if I can't participate in what they're doing? Like, how am I supposed to do that? How does that make sense? Well, one, I didn't need booze to have a good time with my friends. And honestly, if I needed booze in a situation, that's not a healthy situation for me, right? And I think you can apply that to a lot of things. If if a past circumstance is really defining a current situation you're in, that's probably not very healthy. And either you need to address why you're reacting that way, or potentially you need to remove yourself from that situation, right? Another example is, oh, I've always done things this way, or I've always done this thing. So now I'm going to continue to do things that way, or I'm going to continue to have this behavior in my life, even though it may not benefit me. And really just bringing your past into your future. You could see it with relationships a lot of, oh, well, my ex did this, so now I'm scared that my current relationship is going to have that same thing happen. That's so easy to tell yourself, especially if you have some really negative experiences in your past, right? Like, I've been there. I have freaking been there. And I have to remind myself, one, like, the past is no longer relevant. Like, it's in the past for the reason. Am I going to spend my whole life looking in the rearview mirror of, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened? Or am I going to look forward? Am I going to look through the windshield and see where I'm going? And yes, you know what? Our past is here to teach us a lesson. So if you have things that are coming up for you all the time, I really recommend taking a moment, maybe journal it out, write down what's coming up for you all the time. How is it making you feel? How does it feel in your body? Like, connecting the mind and body is so incredibly important. And as you journal, as you reflect, like, okay, say this thing comes up, and whenever this thing comes up, it makes me feel sad, or it makes me feel insecure. Well, why is it making me feel insecure? Why is it making me feel sad? And dig deeper and just say, okay, well, why do I think that is? Like, what is the story that I'm telling myself? Because let me tell you guys, acknowledging what you're bringing from your past to your future and being able to recognize it is the first step to be able to let it go, right? So just remember, your past is here to teach you a lesson. So take a moment, reflect on it, learn from it, and move the fuck on. And I say that with love, and I have to say that to myself. So I don't mean this in a judgmental way. Like, I have to tell myself this all the time. A great example is actually recently I had an incident with a family member of mine that brought up so many of my old wounds, so many of my old past narratives that I would tell myself. And it was really hard. It still is hard. I'm still navigating it, if I'm being honest. And one story that I have been telling myself with healing this situation and dealing with this situation was, well, if they loved me, then they wouldn't have done X thing. Well, if another family member has done this to me, then I must not be very lovable or worthy of love. If another family member is breaking my trust this way, then wow, I must really not be worth it. Sorry guys, I have to adjust for a minute. I must not be worth it. I must not be worth that love. And that is not a positive thing to be bringing into my future. And I have to remind myself, and it's not easy. I'm not saying that this just comes naturally, right? It is really, really easy to get stuck in our heads and to bring up those old stories that we've told ourselves, right? It's not about me, okay? This specific situation that happened was really hurtful. I'm still healing it. I'm still working through it. But at the end of the day, I have to remind myself, even though the ego Erika, the inner child of Erika, is making this situation all about me, guess fucking what? It's not all about me. It is about them. They have their own shit going on that they are dealing with, and they need to heal, and they need to figure it out. And for me to protect my peace, I have to set up boundaries. I have to figure out, okay, what is my relationship with this person now? How much am I going to trust them? What boundaries am I going to set up? Because at the end of the day, I have to protect my peace. I have to protect my sanity. And if this situation is bringing up so many old stories and old wounds that I've really worked to heal, yeah, okay, so it's basically picking at a scar, right? Or picking at like a scab. Like when something is scabbing over, you're creating that new skin on there, if you pick at it and make it bleed again, you now have to start all over. So this situation for me is kind of picking at the scab of these old stories that I have been telling myself for years, that I've been healing. I've been working really hard on healing these old narratives that I've had in my mind. And this specific situation kind of like reopened that wound. So now I'm having to heal that wound. And I just have to remind myself that it's not fucking about me. Okay, it is not about me. It is about them. They did not do this to me. They did it to themselves. And when you look at things like that, when you're able to shift your mindset like that, it is really fucking powerful. It's really fucking powerful, guys, because there have been so many times in my life that someone has hurt me, right? And I'm not saying intentionally, but a situation happened. I was hurt by it. Okay, well, now I know how I do or do not want to be treated, right? Now I have learned a lesson on what am I okay with accepting? What behavior am I okay with accepting from other people? And you know what? It's fucking okay to set up those boundaries for yourself and realize I am not okay with being treated like that. I don't give a fuck if it is your friends or your families or your coworkers or your partner. I don't give a shit. Set the fucking boundary. Boundaries are a love language, my friends, because they are loving to yourself. You are loving yourself by realizing that you deserve better, you deserve more, and you are worthy of that love. You are worthy of that peace. So if you need to take time for yourself, if you need to maybe distance yourself from a situation, if you need to set up certain boundaries, then fucking do it. You're going to hear me talk about boundaries probably all the time on this podcast because I swear to God I love them. They're so applicable to so many different areas of your life. And guys, if you are continuously bringing your past into your future, you are never going to be able to move forward. And again, this is something I am consistently working on. I don't say this with judgment. I say this with love because at the end of the day, we all have our shit. We all have our things. We all have the stories that we tell ourselves, whether it's from our childhood or our teenage years or our young adult years. Like all of these situations in our life, all these different phases of life, they impact us. Okay? They impact us, which makes sense. But it's okay to take that lesson and leave the situation in the past. Leave it in the past. And it can be really hard. So when you're struggling, I really recommend journaling. I really recommend meditating. For me, meditating has been so incredibly healing. It allows me to shut off my mind. It allows me to really, when I have difficult situations come up, when I'm meditating regularly, I'm able to process them so much better and be less reactive. And I think a lot of that is because it helps you have a clearer mind. Helps you calm down your mind, and honestly, you learn how to regulate your emotions and your feelings, and I fucking love it. So 10 out of 10, recommend meditating, okay? But I just want to leave you with this. Your past does not define your future, okay? How you handle these challenges that you are given in life, what you learn, and how you grow and move forward is what defines you, not those past circumstances. So keep your head up. Remember that you are worthy of being treated with love and respect. You are worthy of living your best life, and you are worthy of that growth. So take the time to heal. Do what you need to do to heal, whether that's find a therapist, have some self-care practices, read some personal development. Do what you need to do to heal. Learn from these situations and work on not letting it define your future, guys. All right, thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. I appreciate you all so much, and I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. Thanks.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you and for taking the time to be a part of our community. Don't forget to check the show notes for resources that I shared in today's episode, and of course to connect with me on social. You can find me on Instagram at erika.vishkalis. You can also find me on Facebook at Erika Vishkalis. I always love hearing from you, so leave a comment, leave a review, shoot me a DM, let me know what you loved and what you want to hear more about. And don't forget to tag me if you share the episode with your friends or with your family or on your story. If you want to hear more empowering content, then make sure to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when our next episode drops. I cannot wait to share more with you. I will see you next week, and don't forget to stay empowered.